Welcome to the AI for Career Success podcast by Curt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. This is episode 137. I'm Fred.
And I'm Daphne, and today's topic actually comes from a suggestion by our producer, Curt Robbins, so thank you, Curt. This should be a really interesting one.
It really should. We're looking at a very high-profile failure of generative AI in marketing. I'm talking about that McDonald's holiday ad from the Netherlands that got pulled almost immediately.
Right, and it's a perfect case study because it shows the line between AI as an efficient tool and, well, a public relations disaster.
Exactly. The promise is always speed and scale.
But as this case shows, and we're drawing on reports from late 2025, alienating your customers can wipe out any of those efficiency gains pretty much overnight.
Okay, so let's set the scene. This is based on reports from Joe Wilkins at Futurism and Brooke Steinberg at the New York Post, both around December 9th and 10th of 2025.
Yep. McDonald's Netherlands drops a 45-second fully AI-generated Christmas spot.
And the concept itself was, it was already a bit of a gamble. The whole theme was that the holidays are, and I'm quoting here, the most terrible time of the year.
A bold choice for a Christmas ad, yeah.
It showed all these chaotic scenes, burnt cookies, tangled lights, just everything going wrong.
And it was set to the tune of "It's the most wonderful time of the year," but with these really cynical lyrics. The punchline was basically, just go hide at McDonald's until January.
Okay, so a cynical premise. But the execution, the visuals, that's where it just completely fell apart. People online immediately called it an abomination.
A visual seizure was another one I saw. Creepy. The characters were described as grotesque, the colors were horrible, and the physics were, well, they weren't physics.
And that gets to a really interesting technical point, right?
Sure.
There's a reason it looks so frantic and weird.
There is. And for any professional looking at using this tech, this is the tell. The ad used these incredibly fast-changing scenes, constant quick cuts. That's become a dead giveaway for AI-generated video.
So why is that? Why the jump cuts?
It's a problem of consistency. The models tend to lose the plot after a few seconds. They forget what the character looks like or how gravity works. So the creators use quick cuts to reset the scene before it totally degrades into that visual seizure territory.
So it wasn't a stylistic choice. It was a workaround to hide the tech's flaw.
And a necessary workaround. And the public saw right through it. The backlash was so immediate that McDonald's first had to shut down the comments.
And then on December 9th, they just pulled the video entirely. Vanished.
Yep. Their official statement later called it an important learning about the effective use of AI.
Which is corporate speak for, we messed up big time.
Exactly.
So this brings us to the big question. Why are huge brands like McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Valentino, why are they jumping on this so fast if it's this risky?
Well, Marisa Jones covered this in eMarketer, and the motivation is what you'd expect. It's all about efficiency. Generative AI promises three things businesses can't ignore: massive scale, incredible speed in workflows, and of course, a huge reduction in production costs. To stay competitive, there's enormous pressure to adopt it.
But then you get to the great paradox of this whole story. It comes from the production company's defense. The company was called the Sweetshop.
Oh, this is the best part.
So they came out and defended their work. The CEO said that 10 of their specialists worked for 7 intense weeks on this ad.
7 weeks.
And get this, he said they put in more man-hours than a traditional production would have taken, just to clean up all the AI hallucinations.
I mean, can you believe that? Their defense was that it was actually less efficient. They said, AI didn't make this film, we did.
And the public response was, immediate and brutal. People were basically saying 7 weeks of post-production. Wouldn't it have been easier to just shoot it for real?
Of course, they spent more time and more effort for a result that everyone hated.
So for you listening to this, the takeaway is pretty clear.
It is. If a new technology requires more human effort to fix its mistakes than the old method, it has failed the most basic efficiency test. The question isn't, can we use AI? It's, should we? Especially when the craft just isn't there yet.
Let's take a brief break for a special message from our producer, Curt Robbins.
Hi, this is Curt Robbins. First, thanks for listening. I truly appreciate your support. I want to let you know that I'm currently accepting new clients. My rates are affordable, and I have more than 25 years of experience working for enterprise companies like Microsoft, Northrop Grumman, Oracle, PNC Bank, FedEx, USAA, and Wells Fargo, among many others. If you want to improve your IT documentation and communications, hire me. I deliver fast, know how to use AI to improve efficiency and accuracy, and love going the extra mile to satisfy my clients. Thank you for subscribing and listening. Back to you, Daphne and Fred.
Welcome back to the AI for Career Success podcast.
So before the break, we were talking about this paradox where fixing the AI ad took more work than just making a traditional one.
But the real damage, I think, goes beyond just wasted time. It's about the consumer trust, the brand relationship. The outcry wasn't just, this looks bad.
No, it was deeper. It was about authenticity. People felt cheated. I saw comments like, so a huge company like this couldn't hire a real team of people. It became about a lack of respect for human artists.
And that's where the damage really sticks. One critic joked, let's hope AI customers eat as many burgers as real ones.
Ouch. And that sentiment is backed up by some pretty stark data. That same eMarketer report from December 10th had some numbers that should worry any brand manager.
Okay, let's hear them.
Nearly two-thirds, 65% of U.S. consumers said they feel somewhat or very uncomfortable with AI-generated ads.
Wow, 65%. That is not a niche opinion. That's the mainstream.
It's a huge majority, and it directly impacts their choices. Over 30% of people across all age groups said that knowing an ad is AI-generated makes them less likely to choose that brand.
So you're not just making a bad ad, you are actively pushing a third of your potential customers away.
You are. And it gets even worse for older demographics. For consumers over 65, that number jumps to 42%. You're alienating almost half of a really loyal, high-spending group.
So the implication here, for anyone in a career that touches customers, is that using AI as a shortcut is it's incredibly risky. You're not just risking poor quality, you're damaging the human connection to your brand.
Exactly. This case just shows that AI is great at speed, but it's terrible at craft, at nuance, at authenticity. And for these big, emotional, consumer-facing projects, the reputational risk and the 7 weeks of cleanup have to be weighed against that initial lure of saving money.
It seems true success in this AI era means knowing when you absolutely cannot replace human intention.
That's the bottom line. It's about judgment, not just prompt engineering.
A final thought here is that the speed of AI cuts both ways. You can generate things fast, but you can also fail very, very publicly and very, very fast. So if your career involves creating content, you have to prioritize that human connection, especially when the public is clearly so uncomfortable with this technology right now.
And that's the key right now. These tools are evolving constantly, so as a professional, you need to keep up with not just what the tech can do, but what your audience is willing to accept.
Thank you for listening to the AI for Career Success podcast from Curt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. We'll see you next time.